Hey everybody, so this here is my 1969 Triumph T100 500cc desert sled. Little backstory on it is I bought it as a Rubbermaid tote of pieces almost a year ago, about 11 months ago. And of the original lot, I have used the front half of the frame, the rear wheel, and this side cover. And the rest of it I had to source. Guess I'll start at the front. So it's running a 21-inch OSA wheel. It's off of like an OSA Pioneer or something, or Stiletto. It's running Bader forks. I had to bore out one of the forks to accept the OSA axle. One of them was leaking like a sieve, but I got some new seals underway. Running I think these are Can-Am triple clamps from like a really early Can-Am, like a 75 or so. Yeah, but you had to turn down the stem to press on the, the stock Triumph steering head bearings, and works pretty good. They're pretty strong, they're light, they're aluminum. These are like Goldwing triple clamps, or not triple clamps, handlebar clamps, GL 1000, give or take. These are like Yamaha bars. I'm running Tomasali quick adjust levers. These are very nice for, especially when you're breaking in, everything, the brakes and the clutch and everything. Gran Turismo grips. It's got a Magura, I think it's a Magura, quarter turn throttle. It says made in Sweden, so I assume it's off of a Husqvarna or something. The tank is an interesting story. So this tank I got off of eBay. Let me go to the other side. And I don't know if you can see, but the mounts have actually been reinforced, and there's like a bigger nut in here, so I actually had to use a bigger stud than what was supplied with the tank mounting kit. And so I'm wondering if this was desert raced at one point and it broke and they put stronger mounts in it, so now I never have to worry about it. The motor is an interesting story. So in my original lot, I had like most of a motor, not all of a motor, most of a motor. And I was getting parts, and the guy I bought parts from said, I just got a full T100 motor. It's, quote, a good motor, but I wouldn't race on it. And so I bought it off of him, and I put it in the frame and found out the crankshaft, clunk, 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 had way too much free play in it. So I bought this later bottom end. So in 69, they went to two roller bearings for the mains on the crankshaft. 68 and earlier had a bush on one side, a bearing on the other. Why they did that, I don't know. Triumph. So this is a later bottom end. But again, it was just a bottom end. It had like sticks and leaves and the strainer. But I took the top end off, and don't tell anybody, but I reused the tappets on the new cams, and fingers crossed, so far so good. Yeah. These pipes I got off of a buddy. I told him about this project. I was putting it together, and he gave me the pipes. I mean, they're all ratty and probably were painted at one point, but they match the bike, so. Yeah, this is a skid plate I bought at at a swap meet. I paid $5 for it. I don't know what it was off of. It used to have two mounting tabs up here and one in the back, and I just cut them off and put some U-bolts in there, and I mean, it's on there. It's ready to take some abuse. Running the Amel, what is this, a 928 carburetor. This was originally a Daytona motor with twin carbs, and I converted it to single carb. I actually bored out, there was like a little lip on the inside of the manifold here. I bored it out with a die grinder, and so I got a little bit more airflow. That's just like a eBay air filter. Seems to work pretty good quality. It's like $10. The wiring is interesting. It's running an ET system with brand new MGO coils. These coils are about, I think it's like $18 for two of them. Stupid cheap. I made the wiring harness. Of course, it's running the ET 5-wire rotor. Stator. And it's got the ET rotor in it with the peg. I made a little mount bracket for the exhaust. It's got a kill switch here, which is a, toggle switch. I just thought it was a little classier than just putting a button on the handlebar. And also, I don't have to worry about running wires up to the handlebar and having them break off. It's got Icon VMX shocks in the rear. I think they're 13.5 inches. I highly recommend these shocks if you're running vintage motocross. The guy who runs the company, Roger, he's a good guy. Helped me set this thing up real easy. and just stock swing arm. Maybe I'll reinforce it someday. Probably not. Running a, I think it's a 56 tooth, yeah, 56 tooth rear sprocket. So she gets up and goes. This is bobtailed seat, Steve McQueen seat latch, which I think is pretty cool. Here's the oil tank. It's got a pretty profuse leak in the bottom of it. I'm gonna have to get a new oil tank here pretty soon. There's a little Triumph Power Delta. So another reason why I strayed away from that other used bottom end, or not used, but worn out bottom end, is that the this stud was stripped out. And when I started taking everything apart to take the transmission out and fix that stud or helicoil the stud, I found the crankshaft had way too much play in it. Something about these T100s is that they have a tab washer with a spring behind it, and they're kind of fiddly. And if the thrust washer in the end of the transmission is too worn out, they won't stay. And this one is like 50-50. So far, so good. So I'm gonna leave it alone. I have wrapped the wires, or I guess run the wires from the points cover through this piece of fuel line, actually. Seems to work pretty good. I mean, it's well protected. So a funny thing about this is I tried to time these points with the mark that's on the rotor, and it was way off. Like, I had to completely either advance or retard. It was all the way at one side of the slotted holes for the points, if that makes sense. And so I just kind of timed it by ear, kind of, you know, did one of those, made it run the best, and I think I have it pretty well dialed. This bike ran at Today in the Dirt 2 days ago out here in California. And that morning I had started with a clogged carburetor. I broke a throttle cable in the pits, and I got those fixed, and then I played. It was kind of intermittent. One of the cylinders was kind of intermittent, and then I just kind of moved the points plate around a little bit more, and she fired up and she didn't miss a beat. So good first run for this thing. So without further ado, I think we'll go ahead and give her a little kick-see, see if she runs. So we got 2 petcocks here, right? Give her a tickle, ignition on, and you give her a kick-see, and she starts usually first kick. Of course. So yeah, that is my vintage desert sled. I plan to do a lot more vintage motocross with it. I guess future things for this, I mean, of course I want to fix the what's it called, that fork seal there. Maybe I'll put race tech emulators in here someday. The brakes are okay, maybe I'll work on them a little bit more. I'd like to find a 930 carb for this, you know, give it a little more power. I need to play with the gearing a little bit. So this actually has a wide ratio. I don't know if you can see that in there, but a wide ratio gearbox. And first gear is just a little too low. Second gear is great on the track. But I might run a slightly smaller rear sprocket, maybe a 50 tooth or something. But honestly, it's a very capable machine. I just have to get my skills up, and yeah, but anyways, there she is. Thank you guys for watching.